YouTube? What is going on? It's your boy Big Play Slate here, coming back with another video. Hey, today is Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl showdown between the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be a clash of the Titans. We have a lot of skill position players, 2 top 10 quarterbacks, and 2 top 15 defenses in this league. Let's jump right into it. So let's start off with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow for the Bengals offense. Now, Jamar Chase, he has the assignment of lining up against Jalen Ramsey. He has to go up against Jalen Ramsey one-on-one. I don't know how that's going to cut out for him. I really don't know how it's going to work out for him, because Jalen Ramsey is a legitimate, he's in his own range right now. He's in his own world in terms of just cornerbacks. He's the #1 cornerback in this league, and you can't say otherwise. So Jamar Chase has to find ways to get away from Ramsey to do his work, because you've seen it in that Raiders game. Jamar Chase, when he had to line up against Casey Hayward, he really didn't do too much. And then whenever he was lined up off of him, he had 116 yards. And most of that was because of the CB2 for the Raiders really isn't that good. And statistically, Casey Hayward was amazing this year. So Jamar Chase, I don't know how he's going to do against Jalen Ramsey. I could see a situation where he gets force-fed by Joe Burrow, or Burrow goes to find other options if Jamar Chase is getting completely taken out of the game. But I personally think Jamar Chase has 2 catches to 3 catches against Jalen Ramsey for about 30 yards. I don't see him doing too much really against Ramsey, but any other corner like a Darius Williams, he's gonna go off. But yeah, let's go to T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now this is gonna be 2 guys that are gonna be big contributors tonight, because you already have Jamar Chase, and he has to get followed around by He has to get followed around for most of the game by none other than the best corner in the game, and Jalen Ramsey. So you have to involve these 2 guys as well if you're gonna think about anything else, because these 2 guys are very good whenever they get the ball. T. Higgins had over 1,000 yards this year with about 6 touchdowns, 70+ receptions. And Tyler Boyd had 828 yards, a couple touchdowns, a couple 100-yard games. Same thing with Higgins, a couple 100-yard games. These guys were big contributors into why, Jamar Chase had a great year, because Jamar Chase, look at the assignments that he had this year, and then him getting help with Higgins and Boyd. He has 2 legitimate weapons on this team, and that's no disrespect to Jamar Chase, but it literally wasn't a one-man show. I personally think T. Higgins will have over 100 yards in this game. I really do. I think he's gonna have over 100 yards with 1 touchdown. I believe Mixon will be one of the biggest reasons why they win. And as I speak about Mixon, Joe Mixon is next coming up. Joe Mixon. Yeah, you already still have the Higgins and Tyler Boyd tandem for Joe Burrow. Obviously, the Bengals' offensive line is the key factor of why they could lose this game. Their offensive line gave up 1 sack against Kansas City, and they gave up 9 sacks to the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, that's a lot of sacks. And I don't know how much sacks they gave up against the Raiders. I gotta go check that. But I'm pretty sure it was a couple because I know Yannick Ngakoue got home a lot in that game. But if you're the Bengals and you're Joe Burrow, you've been chillaxing the last couple of days in terms of, you've been just chillaxing in terms of you're just talking about having a terrible offensive line and you still make things happen. He's been making things happen even with a terrible offensive line. Now you look at Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon doesn't get the respect that he deserves. He had over 1,000 yards this season with 14 touchdowns and 42 receptions. Now that's some stats right there, especially playing with 3 Pro Bowl type talents at the receiver position and a solid to above average tight end with a top 10 quarterback in this league, potentially top 5. That says a lot for Joe Mixon. That says a lot. And I'm surprised that his stats look like that. I mean, this guy had 2 back-to-back seasons where he had over 1,000 yards in 2018 and 2019. Never got the respect that he ever deserved. 2021, he has over 1,000, in terms of total touchdowns, he has 13. 2021, he had 1,205 yards, 13 touchdowns, 42 receptions, 3 touchdowns. And all combined, he had 16 touchdowns total. He had 16 touchdowns total. I don't know how he did it with a terrible offensive line like that. I really don't know how he did it. But I personally feel like the Bengals offensive line will give up 3 to 4 sacks. They're going to give up a couple sacks. Let's be real. They're going to give up a couple of sacks. I mean, you have to play up against Aaron Donald. This ain't just some no man. This is a man. This is a man amongst men. And we're talking about with Aaron Donald. This is arguably the best defensive player in the league with Donald. Alright, now let's go focus on this Cincinnati Bengals defense. This Cincinnati Bengals defense, it's very underrated. This Bengals defense has some of the likes of Jesse Bates, arguably the best safety in the game. Jermaine Pratt, arguably one of the most underrated linebackers in the game. This dude's been in the league for a damn minute, for real. And they've had, and they still do have, one of the most underrated defensive ends in the game with Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. They have one of the most underrated linebackers in the game with Logan Wilson. They have one of the most underrated slot corners, nickel corners in the game with Mike Hilton. And they have one of the most underrated nose tackles in the game with DJ Reader, who's blocking up for them up front. BJ Hill, who had an interception against Patrick Mahomes. He's an underrated player. And then in that back end, they have, Chidobe Awuzie, who hasn't had a bad season, solid season. You also have Von Bell, who had a really good statistical season, if we're talking about safeties. One of the most underrated safety tandems with Jesse Bates and Von Bell. Now, that's some talent right there on that defense. The only problem I have with their defense is one player and one player only. That is Eli Apple. That dude is literal dog shit. I'm sorry, he's terrible. We want to talk about bad players. This is a player we talk about. He sucks. Alright, so he gave up about 100 plus or 150 plus yards against what's his name? AJ Brown. And he gave up, I believe, he gave up a 58 yards to Hunter Renfrow and 61 plus a touchdown to Zay Jones. And he gave up, I want to say he gave up over 78 yards to Tyreek Hill. He was getting torched and a touchdown. Let's focus on this Rams defense or Rams offense. Let's focus on both of these teams, and just both of these offenses and defenses. So, the Rams, this offense is critical for why they will win this game, or why they could win this game. They have the likes of OBJ, who's had a big comeback year, a big step back year. Turns out it wasn't his fault. It was that Baker Mayfield just didn't want to throw the ball to him. Matthew Stafford, who left Detroit, he said, F you, I'm going to go win a ring by myself. Nah, not literally by himself, but I'm going to go win a ring somewhere else. I'm going to go win a ring elsewhere. But that's what he did. He got traded to the Lions, and people thought the Rams were stupid for trading 2 first-rounders and a couple other picks. And maybe, I don't know if they put a player in that, but Jared Goff was the other player that was involved in that deal. People thought they were stupid for doing that. Turns out they weren't. You already have Cooper Kupp. He had over 1,900 yards. 19,047 to be exact. That's 19 yards shy of Matthew Stafford's and Calvin Johnson's record in terms of just like single season shy. He was in a single season. He was 19 yards shy of Calvin Johnson's record in terms of yards in an entire season. That's stats right there. That's ridiculous. Hey, yo, Cooper Kupp is a damn dog. He was force-fed this entire year, and he made things happen. Let's also not forget about Tyler Higbee, another critical factor in why they could win this game. Obviously, let's talk about Van Jefferson, an underrated receiver. Gets his money, doesn't say too much, works, grinds it out, and definitely helps that offense out a lot. Is a big critical piece of that offense. And yeah, Matthew Stafford, of course. Matthew Stafford's a gunslinger, interception guy, but if he can't throw an interception, they could win this game. Now let's focus on Cam Akers. Obviously, Cam Akers, he was injured for last year. This year, he only played in the postseason, in which he had a solid postseason. Wasn't too special, but here's why he'll be a critical factor in this game. I personally believe Cam Akers is an underrated back in this league, and the way he just runs is very, good. I mean, let's say, all right, this is a situation that could happen. Let's say the Bengals double team Cooper Kupp, right? They double team Cooper Kupp. And this is where OBJ gets his points here. They double team OBJ or Cooper Kupp, one of those guys. They double team Cooper Kupp, let's say him. So they get him out of the game, and then now OBJ gets the ball a lot. They keep force feeding him. And then now they try to run the ball to get the Bengals, confused, I guess, or confused. They get them confused. So Cam Akers is going to be a big piece to why they could win this game. He's going to be a critical factor. I mean, both run defenses aren't really that good. I don't know about the Bengals, but the Rams' run defense isn't really that good. You can run on that run defense if you're the Bengals offense. But if you're this Rams offense and you're trying to run the ball, you got to run it outside to the edges, because you don't want to run inside and just get absolutely hammered by DJ Reader and Sam Hubbard. Those are some big boys up there. Pause. Those are some big guys. There are some big hog mollies or big defensive ends, defensive tackles, just bulldozing you guys. It's something special to watch if you're the Rams defense. the Bengals defense. Misconfusing a lot today, or mispronouncing a lot of names. But yeah, this next topic, let's go to this Rams defense. This Rams defense, honestly, man, this year I didn't think it was their best year. I really don't think it was their best year. I think they've had better seasons before they had like Brandon Staley, Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips was a great defensive coordinator. Brandon Staley, his last season with the Rams, amazing year. Those were great years for the Rams defense. This year, I didn't think it was their best year. I thought their run defense wasn't that good. I thought you could definitely run on them. I thought their secondary, other than Jalen Ramsey, was not really that good. I mean, you only have, I guess, Taylor Rapp, who's a solid safety, and then Darius Williams, who's more of a nickel guy, who can play CB2. It's just there because Jalen Ramsey's outside next to him. So, this defense wasn't really that good before they got Von Miller and shit. Von Miller, that was a great piece. That was a great signing, I guess, or a great trade. That was a great trade for them because you're getting a top 10 defensive player of the last decade. You could say he was the best linebacker or outside linebacker of the last decade, or defensive end just in general. That dude was a monster for the last decade. They got him in that trade for, I think that was that Kenny Young trade. And that definitely has helped them out a lot. Critical piece to why they've been winning a lot of these games, getting Von Miller up and going, healthy. And then Aaron Donald, he's going to be a big factor in this reason to why they could win this game. That Bengals offensive line sucks. And they got to stop Jamar Chase, as I said. Jalen Ramsey is going to be lined up one-on-one against him. And then you got Higgins and Boyd. And then mix in with Cam Akers and Van Jefferson and then Higbee. Yeah, they got their work cut out for themselves. Now, my score prediction, I have the Cincinnati Bengals losing 34-38, and I have the Rams winning 38-34. There you have it. I have the Cincinnati Bengals losing, and the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, winning their second Super Bowl in franchise history. They won 38-34. That is my final prediction. You guys have a great day. Super Bowl Sunday is here. Super Bowl showdown between two great teams, two great offenses, two good defenses. Let's go. Let's see what happens with these coaches tonight. And y'all have a good night. Peace. Enjoy the Super Bowl, y'all.